Hair's falling out. But I came back a second time.
That's really, that's extreme version of it, right?
Well,
Other than these real extreme versions,
No, you didn't, because Sandra kept asking me. That's right, it was just.
Well, yeah, but there is that, but there is that lead up to it, It wasn't, it shouldn't be up
I
to
didn't
it,
know Melissa was not gonna be here.
So.
And it seems that no one.
Oh, okay.
That's why I
The variance. Are we ready?
We need you for the pledge, and that's the pledge.
Well,
He's here.
yes.
We have to plug in tonight, take one.
There's,
We're rolling.
As far, yes, I did.
it's an extremely,
Yes.
controversial, no matter how you look at it, perspective.
Can I ask everyone to please stand?
Well,
for the pledge of allegiance?
Yeah, well.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Lambert.
Well, kind of like our sign, right?
Yeah.
Up above.
Just a quick comment before we start tonight's proceedings. I wanted to make special mention that past mayor David Paul Rupp was here a couple of weeks ago petitioning us to pave Godfrey Avenue, and that was of a Thursday night, Monday night. And Godfrey Avenue was actually paved by Thursday. So Paul Rupp gets attention from the board. I want you to know that his request was promptly filled.
We have no explanation for the delay. We don't know what happened.
Those extra days, Canton?
Somebody wasn't happy.
We have the warrants in place that have been audited and are before you for your approval.
Move that we accept the warrants and claims as presented.
Trustee Cornell? Yes. Trustee Nagro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozy?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecki?
Yes.
Mayor Di.
Yes.
The prior meeting minutes are from the June 28th, 2021 meeting, and they're before you for approval.
Make a motion to accept the prior meeting minutes.
I second.
Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozy?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecki?
Yes.
Mayor Di.
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the parking license agreement with Walls Wharf. You received a copy of it this morning with any changes or updates in red. The total parking license agreement amount is $2,500, and the period will run from July 26th, if approved, through September sometime after September 3rd. I apologize that I don't see it.
There are some excluded dates there.
Yes, there are excluded dates, which has been standard operating procedure. I apologize. Through September 30th of this year. The license agreement is before the board.
Is that usually for a longer period?
Usually in the past, they've started as early as May, but this year they came to us a little later in the season, so we're making it effective July 26th, as I said, if you approve it, through the end of September.
I'll make a motion to approve Walls Wharf lease agreement.
I'll second.
Parking agreement.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecki. Thank you, Trustee Nigro. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozy?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecki?
Yes.
Mayor Di.
Yes.
Next item before the board is the request from the Locust Valley High School Athletic Council for their annual homecoming parade. Saturday, September 25th, and it's from noon to 1 p.m.
We have a question, Maria.
Yes.
That's held on county property. Why are they petitioning us?
They have always asked the village for permission because it comes through the village, but they do reach out to the town of Worcester Bay, excuse me, and to Nassau County for the proper permissions. But they have historically asked the village of Bayville, since they are coming through the village of Bayville. I noticed that it looks this year, the parade's going to begin in Locust Valley and end at Center Island. Historically, it's been the other way around.
Can we be notified that the mayor's in the parade again? We weren't notified the last time and we had to find out after the fact.
Why are they doing it backwards?
The game is probably.
Oh, they have it instead of the school.
What's the
Maybe that what it is.
The high school field's being redone, so the football.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Steve, that's
logical.
Right, yeah.
Sure, I'm glad you're right.
Do we have a motion to approve Locust Valley High School Athletic Council request?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept the athletic council request for parade for Bayville.
Thank you, trustee Cornell.
Second?
Thank you, trustee Belzaki. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Natozzi?
Yes.
Trustee Belzaki?
Yes.
Mayor Di
Yes.
The next item is the Madison Avenue Road Repair petition. This petition was submitted to the board at the previous meeting, and at that meeting, the board requested that the building inspector, as per code requirements, perform a survey of the road, and he has done so. He's provided you with a written report as to the condition of the road, excuse me, and his recommendation, saying that he believes that the repairs presented are warranted, and the estimates presented appear fair, and to acknowledge the repair will be a great improvement when compared to the current road's conditions. If the board so chooses to accept this report, the next step would be to set the public hearing, which would be the August 23rd meeting.
I move that we accept the report by the building department.
Thank you, trustee
Second.
Nigro. Thank you, trustee Cornell. And we will set the hearing for the public hearing
Yes.
for August 23rd. Thank you. I just wanted to check my date on the calendar. Yes, August 23rd. Okay. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minikowski?
Yes.
Trustee Belzaki?
Yes.
Mayor Di
Yes.
The next item on the agenda are revisions, or a revision of the ZBA application. This process started quite a while ago, and then because of the pandemic and other things happening, had been put aside. The recommendations, and this has been coordinated with trustee Valsecchi, so maybe I'll turn it over to you if there's any other questions or discussion. But the main changes in the filing fee has been increased from $300 to $500. The survey description item 3 has been amended to clarify the requirements, and the radius requirement is remaining at 200 feet. So those are the main changes to the application.
I have a question. Pete, do you think we could require the ZBA to provide to the Committee on Architectural Review if any any variances have been ordered by the ZBA that we made known officially to the committee?
Sure.
We get a memo or a letter
Sure.
indicating, so when we're doing our thing, we're doing it with full knowledge of what
They send out the decisions, so we can just put you on the list.
Great
So
idea.
easy.
Thank
It would
you.
just be the
Georgia,
decision, wouldn't be in the
what-
application process.
Yeah.
No, not the application, but I'm talking about the decision.
Decisions,
That's what you're talking
yes.
about, right?
There's
Sure.
nothing to do with the application.
Now, Georgia,
They're on the list.
Yeah, just have Georgia send it to you guys.
Right.
That's fine.
Any questions? I'll make a motion to accept the new application revisions.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Valsecchi, trustee Minicozzi, trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale?
Yes.
The next is the appointments to the beautification committee, and it's being proposed that Catherine Maywell, John Maywell, Donna Rizzo, Celeste Pinkerton be Rupp, Debbie Fallon, Terry Perry, Patsy Wright, and Chris Flammer be reappointed as members of Garden Beautification Committee, and be it further resolved that Don Rizzo is appointed as chairperson for a term of 1 year, all set to expire the first Monday in July 2022.
Yeah, we're, two appointees that I had put onto this committee, did they not respond? Perry?
She's listed.
They don't have this?
I'm sorry, Terry Perry and Patsy Wright.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, I tried to.
Thank you.
Would you like me to reread just to be
No,
sure?
no,
The list of
Okay.
people? Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
I make a motion to accept those appointments.
I second.
Thank you, trustee Valsecchi, trustee Cornell. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale?
Yes.
The next item, the Mill River Rod and Gun Club is requesting, as they have in the past, maybe not last year, but over the past several years, to hold their children's snapper derby at the West Harbor Docks. And that would be on September 4th, 2021, between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. And they do provide us with the required insurance to satisfy our brokers and our village attorney's requirements for insurance for such events.
I move we accept the application for the use of the West Harbor Docks by the Rod and Gun Club for the Snapper Derby.
I second.
Thank you, trustee Nigro. Thank you, trustee Cornell. Trustee Cornell.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi.
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi.
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Yes.
The next item is Cycling for Change. This is an event that has been sponsored again in the past. It is sponsored by Dr. Paulus. He is requesting use of West Harbor Beach facility. This would be on October 2nd, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., approximately 150 people. Mayor, I think you know more details about the exact event if anybody has any questions.
Has anyone any questions regarding the cycle change event?
I read it, I was curious as to what do they do? Is they cycle around town, or I wasn't clear on
Yeah, it's
how it
just
works.
a course around town. You can cycle, you can walk, or run, it's to raise awareness for human trafficking. It's been doing this for a number of years.
Do they need insurance for this?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
they
you
have
provide
it,
us with
yeah.
all the required insurance.
Any other questions?
I make a motion to accept the application for Cycling for Change.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Valsecchi, thank you, trustee Nigro. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale?
Yes.
The next item is a resolution for the board of the Village of Bayville to authorize the Bayville Village Court to apply for a JCAP grant in the 2021-2022 grant cycle for an amount up to $30,000.
I have a question. Does that money have to be used between the time period?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. But they've done this in the past?
We have done it annually. The court clerk have submitted an application
And there's
for
never been
this.
a question as to whether or not they utilize the money appropriately.
None of them.
Thank you. Maria, has the court any specific interest in that money for one particular project?
I know at one point, they had mentioned redoing the windows along the side of the building here for the offices that are affected. They may, if they need any other protective type of equipment that for their court sessions. Now the court will be really reopening completely. So they discuss, the court clerk discusses with the village justice the needs of the court.
I'm sure they could always find something, can't they?
Yes. So the resolution is, again, the board of the village of Bayville authorizes the Bayville Village Court to apply for a JCAP grant in the 2021-2022 grant cycle up to $30,000.
Can I make a motion?
Thank you, trustee
I'll
Dozeki.
second.
Thank you, trustee Cornell. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minikowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dozeki?
Yes.
Mayor Di
Yes.
We have a lot of use of facilities. Now we have the Locust Valley Bayville Soccer Club, who's asking to use West Harbor Memorial Park for youth soccer from August 30th through November 22nd, November 21st. They would be 4 to 7 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 to 5 on Saturday and Sundays, approximately 40 people. And again, they too provide us with all the required insurance.
Will the bathrooms be open for them? Because that's pretty late in the season.
We have to make arrangements if
Okay.
that's something that the board approves.
Okay.
I'll make a note here.
Will that conflict with any student soccer games or anything like that?
To my knowledge, and Nikki can help me here, they coordinate with the Bayville Community Little League, so they hopefully, it would be the Little League using it or the soccer using it. So, that they coordinated it, and this time works for soccer to be there.
I make a motion for the Bayville Locust Valley Soccer, Locust Valley Bayville Soccer Club to use the facilities. Second.
Thank you, trustee Dozeki. That was trustee Minikowski. Thank you. Trustee Cornell? Yes. Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minikowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dozeki?
Yes.
Mayor Di
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is for the scheduling of it's an application for site development plan approval for the property at 269 to 271 Bayville Avenue, section 28, block 1, lots 3 through 4, and it's business zone. So therefore, it does come before the Board of Trustees for site plan review. So this application has gone before zoning. Zoning has granted a variance to this property location, and now it's time for the application to go before the board. We would plan to schedule the site plan hearing for August 23rd.
They also appeared before the Committee on Architectural Review and were approved.
Okay, thank you, trustee Nigro. So at this point in time, I would be asking that the board set the hearing for site plan review for this property at 269 to 271 Bayville Avenue for Monday, August 23rd, time to be determined and advertised accordingly.
I make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Minikowski, trustee Dozeki. Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Minikowski?
Yes.
Trustee Dozeki?
Yes.
Mayor Di
Yes.
The next item was put on the agenda late today. The Village of Bayville has completed the paving of, as the mayor mentioned, Godfrey and Perry Avenue. And the funding for this paving was through a grant received from Senator Marcelino, NYS Senate grant. And we still have funds available under the grant, so we went back to H2M and had them ask United Paving for a proposal to now pave School Street. So they submitted that this afternoon, and that's what's before you at this time. The total amount would be $111,600 for the paving of School Street.
Grant's covering that?
We still have funds within the grant, yes, based on what we've expended so far for the work done. So the work, for the base of Mount Avenue, which will be done hopefully by Friday of this week, and the work done on Perry Avenue and Godfrey, it's $52,000 for Mountain and $293,905 for the Godfrey and Perry Avenue roads. So the balance is left on the grants of $154,000, and this comes in at $111,600.
I see where we're paying a premium for that, but there's no choice.
As the engineer explained to me, and I'm discussing it today, that the difference being is that we're bringing them back, and when they priced us out the first time, it was with the premise that they were going to mill in one day, which they did, and pave in one day, which they did. Now they're coming back to mill again and pave again, which will probably be about a half day's work, but they have to pay a full day's price for it, if I'm being clear.
You are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
So it's before the board.
Make a motion we approve the proposal from United Paving to pave School Street.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Minicozzi. Trustee Nigro. Trustee Cornell.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi.
Yes.
Trustee Dalsecki.
Yes.
Mayor Di.
Yes.
And the last item on the agenda is a proposal for actuarial valuation services from USI Consulting Group, which is a group we've used over the past 8, maybe 10 years to do our actuarial valuation for our other post-entitlement benefit expense. This is required this is a requirement of Gatsby statement number 74 and 75, and the information becomes part of our annual audit. The fee for a biennial Gatsby 74-75 valuation report is $4,500, and then there is a update for each of the subsequent 2 years at $1,000 a year. So for a total of $6,500, it's the same fee as last charge.
And they did it last time.
Yes.
How long has the village been using this service, to the best of your knowledge?
This covers 3 years, so go back. It has to be at least 10 years.
10 years.
At least 10 years.
And in your experience, would you recommend this company over any
Oh,
other?
yes. They're a very good actuarial valuation company.
Yes. I see their credits on the back there.
Mhm.
They've got a who's who of townships around the country.
I move we accept the proposal.
Second.
Previously discussed.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro. Thank you, Trustee Dalsecki. Trustee Cornell.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi.
Yes.
Trustee Dalsecki.
Yes.
Mayor Di.
Yes.
I do not have any other items to put before the board at this time, so Mayor, I turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board tonight? Please. Mrs. Cole?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of questions. First of all, what is the site development plan for the 269 to 271 on Bayville Avenue? What are you doing, what is going to be put in there, or if they go ahead with it? I haven't heard anything about this, so.
The board per se has not studied this proposal yet.
Okay.
It's come before the zoning board.
Okay.
It comes now to the village board for final approval.
But what's the
They-
proposal is what I'm asking. What are they proposing?
They are proposing the conversion of the building, a complete modernization, new facade, a complete redo on the building, changing the upstairs structure and configuration from 2 apartments to 3 apartments. And on the ground floor, there will remain, the way it's proposed, there will remain the 2 current retail spaces that you see there now. And that's basically what it is.
Okay.
I've seen the plans, because they have been before the committee on architectural review.
Yeah.
I think it looks very nice, it's consistent with the other upgraded, commercial, places, and it needed it very badly.
Okay, I was just wondering what it was about, that's all. Thank you for explaining that. I have another question. What happened to the 7 o'clock time for these meetings? We used to, when you first took office, I know you wanted it at 6:30, but the people here wanted it
The end of the,
later.
actually, good question. These folks on this board are all volunteers. We managed to get here, whatever the time might be, we get here. We took a vote amongst us, we wanted to start meetings at 6:30. It's as simple as that. If you look at other municipalities, the meetings could run anywhere from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We felt that 6:30 is a convenient roundabout hour, and anyone with any business to present to the board, I would think would be able, if you had something serious to bring to the board, you should be able to get here at 6:30 or whatever the hour.
Not everybody can, because, I mean, I don't work anymore, but not everybody can.
I don't know, Mrs. Cohen, I see everyone's been working from home this past year, and it looks like they're going to continue to work from home. 6:30 works for the board, I'll just leave it at that. We took a vote, and we felt comfortable with the hour of 6:30.
So the constituents don't matter.
Well,
Is that
maybe
it?
there were 2 or 3 people that wanted it. There were 7 people on the board who just didn't find that workable.
When you first took office, the meetings used to...
That was 4 years ago.
Can I just speak
Of
first?
course.
Thank you. The meetings used to be at 7:30, and you wanted it 6:30, and you met in the middle with people, and it was 7 o'clock. And I know things have changed, that a lot of people work from home, but there are still people, and more going back to work in their offices now.
I've been.
So I feel bad for those people that want to get here and can't.
I do believe that this board will be here for anyone that's got a question to bring before us. You know, I'm in the parking lots of the Long Island Railroad and Locust Valley. I've been through the parking lot at Syosset. There ain't no one going to the city. I mean, they're all home. Why should we be here until
Well, they're
7:30?
driving a lot of them because they don't want to be on the trains. That's the difference. There's more traffic on the highways than there are on the trains.
I appreciate your comment.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When we had the Zoom meetings, did all those people look at the Zoom meetings?
People that are working, they couldn't.
They couldn't?
How can they work and look at the Zoom meetings at 10 o'clock in the morning? They're working. That was a problem too for people that worked. And there was discussion online about that. People felt it was unfair time because they couldn't see the meetings. They're working from home, they have a schedule they're supposed to meet. So, for me, it didn't matter, but there are plenty of people who it mattered to, and some did voice their opinion about it. So, the other thing I'd just like to discuss is, and I'm sure this isn't the right place, but I'm gonna discuss it anyway. You know very well, Mayor, what I'm gonna say. The abomination of the house next door to me and what's going to happen in the court is so upsetting to me and my neighbors because of what has happened, for the fact that we are no longer going to be able to have anything happen to having 10, 12, 15 people living in that house. That's going to go on. Just the fact that they're going to be cited for some things that the building inspector saw last year, everything that you asked me to do and I did, it's for naught, and I'm quite upset about it. And I did speak to Mr. Weiler, yes, and I did kind of expect to hear back from you, Mayor, because you said to me you hadn't heard anything about what I was saying to you. So I'm really upset, and I feel very badly about for my whole street. Yes, a few days ago, another two came walking down the street with suitcases, moving in. They come, they go, they come, they go. Some take a mattress, some don't. It's ridiculous.
Mrs. Cohen, from day one, when you first addressed this issue to the board, and to me personally, I've taken every possible legal step.
So what happened to change it? I understand what Mr. Weiler told me,
We
but
haven't changed direction.
yes, you have,
No, we
totally,
haven't. You know,
totally changed direction.
in other words, you feel the board dropped the ball. Is that what you're saying?
Somebody dropped the ball, or somebody, I don't even want to say what I want to say.
Look,
Mr. Village Attorney explained to us.
Well, before Mr. Attorney speaks, I want to just add a comment or two, if I may. I gave orders to the village attorney. I said, I don't care what it costs. I said, we, the board, want you to do everything legally possible. I don't care what it costs you. I want to make an example, because that may not be in my backyard, but it's in our village. And what's in our village at the east end affects the west end. What's not right in the west end is totally unjustifiable elsewhere. I'm just not, I've done everything. We are in the middle, we're still in the middle of it.
I know, but it changed. The whole complexion of the situation changed of what's going to happen in the court next month.
All right, look, the reason I pay Mr. Weiler what we do is because he's expert at it. So I'm not going to try to answer the legal angles of your question. I'm going to have Mr. Weiler address the folks here tonight and the board, and give us an update, Mr. Weiler, where you're at, why we're moving as slowly as we are, if in fact we are moving slowly. Just give us an update. If you
Why
want.
did it change? The complexion of the suit, why did it change? And I know what you're going to say because you explained it to me, but it's not what we had discussed last year when you had me doing everything that I did as a representative of the association, and then all of a sudden all that went away, and I'm dealing with a flop house next door to me. A flop house.
Let me explain what's going on. Right now, there are charges in the village court that are being prosecuted by a special prosecutor because our regular prosecutor had a conflict in connection with that. And that case is proceeding, although I just received a report from the special prosecutor that the defendant's attorney has made motions to the court, which unfortunately are going to delay things.
Again, so it's not going to be in August now?
Well, I think it'll be in August. Whatever, I just got the paperwork, or a copy of the paperwork, from Mr. Luskin indicating that the attorney for the defendant has made a motion to the court, and that's up to the court to decide how they're going to handle it. I don't do that. But the court will handle that motion. Where that motion will go, I don't know at this point. It's quite voluminous. It raises a lot of technical issues, and so on the present charges that are pending in the court, you're going to have to expect a delay on that, and there's not much you can do about it. As far as the other aspect of it. There's no question that you've helped us by giving us photographs to give it an idea of exactly what's going on at the house. And the only way that can proceed is to bring a civil suit, which we've not been able to do because the courts during the pandemic weren't taking any cases. So we're now at a point where a civil suit could be brought to try to get an injunction. That's going to require a lot more work. It has to involve current information from the residents. I've spoken with Mr. McGurr already. I understand your problem, okay? And the problem is that because of the pandemic, things have been delayed. Hopefully, things are going to open up now. I have another case pending in Supreme Court, and it's been going on for 2 years. And I just got another notice from them saying that something that was scheduled for today has now been pushed down to September sometime, the end of September.
But the fact is that the owner of the house is an attorney, and she knows very well what the law is. She's an attorney for the town of Oyster Bay.
I understand.
Okay? This is a nightmare for anybody and everybody, but she's getting away all these years. No permits when she did any work, nothing. All done by unlicensed plumbers, electricians, everything was unlicensed. Didn't pay people, begged me to help them to get their money. You have no idea what I've lived through for 17 years with this house next door. No idea. And I'm done, as I told you, I put my house up for sale. So she won, I lost, and it seems to me like we're all gonna lose, and this is gonna go on because she knows exactly what she's doing. Exactly. And we're gonna lose.
Mrs. Cohen, this board is not going to sit back and tolerate that. This board is committed to seeing that they do the right thing and the neighborhood and the road get some relief. I've been to the road any number. You've seen me.
Yes.
I go over Saturday, over Sunday. I go midweek. I go in the evening. Trust me. I care. I really care. I mean,
I'm not questioning that.
Well, we're
I'm
charging.
frustrated to the end of my life.
Rightfully so.
I think many people are frustrated because of the slowdown on the system to try to get something going.
If the board and I didn't care, I wouldn't go down the road every now and then to take a look. I truly care. I sympathize with you. You've got all the empathy I could possibly give you. And that's why I've charged Mr. Weiler to do what he needs to do. I never question how much, just do it. Let's straighten that situation out, because if we tolerate it there, if we let them get away with it there, it could happen next door to me, it could happen next door to any one of these trustees. And we just don't want that anywhere in the village.
Unfortunately, she's been getting away with it for years and years, all different kinds of things, all different stuff. This is unbelievable though, and I'm afraid, as I've told you, living alone with all these young men coming and going, and I have no idea who they are, who belongs and who doesn't. It's terrifying. They might be the nicest people in the world, but there's at least 15 people in that house.
Mrs. Cohen, I can tell you, I work very closely with the court system. There hasn't been an eviction or a foreclosure.
Well, I know.
Very recently, it was a year and a half.
Right, I know
They
that.
stopped them. Landlords can't collect rent, well, they pay taxes, and individuals don't have to pay their mortgages, because many of them can't. This is now coming to a close.
Right.
Courts are reopening, we'll be able to get more done. There's an enormous backlog, and we're gonna have to work our way through
But
that.
this woman gets away with it all the time. Over the years, when there have been, she's been issued summonses, and I would call, this is years ago, did the case come to the court? Oh no, it was pushed back until it went away.
I don't know how things go
It
away.
went away, believe me.
I don't know.
This is not going away, I promise you. This is not going anywhere. It's going to be prosecuted eventually. We'll get there.
I won't be there anymore, so, but I feel bad for the rest of the people on my street. I have to protect myself.
It's not just your street, it's the village. The village deserves better than that. And that's why we've taken the position. We're not turning a blind eye to it.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to make a statement tonight?
Yeah.
I
guess you know what I'm gonna talk about. And I'm gonna use the microphone because I can't hear a word you guys are saying without the microphones in front of you. This is about the wall on Merritt Lane and the failure to beautify the top of it. It's an incomplete job. What is there right now is the equivalent of putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. So let me read what I had written to Doc. Doc again. Dina Power. I had offered, because of the expense of that wall, I mean, it was really a big expense. I mean, it was just shockingly expensive. And I appreciate the effort on everybody to get that job done, which they did a good job. However, after that was done, of course, I would like to have had the fern and flora put above it and that mad dirt situation, which right now shows tufts of grass and weeds. It's disgusting. It's your property. You should take care of it. I take care of my property. If you were my neighbor, I'd be in here screaming at you. So let me continue with this, because there's a bias here that disturbs the hell out of me. Realizing that the cost was excessive, the Moore Bay Court Association decided they would pay for all of that shrubbery to go up there. The response I got was, don't go near my wall. The second response was, talk to my attorney. Now, I have two attorneys who live in the neighborhood who are more than willing to do a pro bono and make everybody's life miserable, unnecessary expense to the village. I chose not to do that. This is such a simple process. It's such of simple nature that you guys are all making this, or whoever made the decision, such a monumental task that doesn't warrant that much time. Here's the question. To put the shrubbery up there, does anybody have an offense to that? Mayor, you said to me, I would love to see it happen. I said, wonderful, let's do it. You said, we went through the process, said, no, don't you dare go near my wall. You can't put that up yourself. That's against law. There's a liability here. Wonderful, okay. So you'll put it up. I'll give you the shrubs, you install them. What's wrong with that? Is that a problem? I mean, I'm being generous. We're talking about maybe $5,000 worth of shrubbery going up there. I can't do any more than that. You wouldn't even let me do it myself, not myself personally. And that's where I have a problem. You see, the beautification committee, when they asked them, and I quote, how do you get your work done? And they said, we hire a landscape designer for certain projects, and some we do ourselves. Red flag, they do themselves, my God. Depending on the scope of the planting. So, we have the beautification committee that is allowed to do these things. And sometimes themselves. Now, I'm not suggesting that the only way this could be done is if we do it ourselves. I'm telling you, it's your obligation, your property. I'll give you the shrubs, you put them in. Now, let's go a little further. Are you objecting to the shrub suggestion? Is that an objection? You know, recently, when I wrote this letter, I said to you about getting this thing resolved. And you said, I spoke to the board, the trustees, and they said no. Now, you can ask a question of the trustees that said, posed this way, to get a specific answer. Can the Moore Bay Court Association put the shrubs up there? The answer is no, because of litigation possibilities. Fine, wonderful. Now, instead of saying, is there another way we could have this done? Or instead of saying, they're willing to give us the shrubbery, can DPW put it in? Why not? But no, the answer is no, No, it's ridiculous. The Moore Bay Court Association and Moore Bay Court and Merritt Lane, it's a beautiful entry to a very, very often visited area. I gotta tell you, the cars that come down there are incredible. The guy in the point has put probably about $3 million into a home that he bought for $2.7 million. If any indication of the beautification that these people that live there, the dedication that they're putting into their properties, the beautification of this village, it seems like the only beautification that's done is in very visible areas. Like in front of the stores down there by the beach, by Ransom Beach. Beautiful stuff. Yet DPW does all the watering of those, don't they? Is that a private group that does that? Or is it DPW?
I'm sorry.
Who waters the hanging plants?
They have beautification.
They do it?
We have a summer employee that's been hired by Bayville Beautification.
Yeah.
Waters all of the shrubs.
They water all the shrubs?
They do.
Okay, from the donations that we gave them. In other words, we financed that through donations. I know I personally gave them $500 because I love my village. So let's get back to the simple part of this. What is stopping the village from putting plants up there? What's stopping it?
On top of the wall?
Yeah.
Well, basically, the wall was designed by the engineers at H2O.
Right.
It was engineered to be just what it is. It
Okay.
was not engineered to be a planting area. It is what it is.
No, it is what it is.
If a resident wants us, the village, well, to beautify a specific area because they just happen to like that area, what are we supposed to do? Go run around the whole village
Oh, come on.
or let them
No.
plant themselves?
Come on. Is that your argument?
Part of it.
It's not argument. We're talking about an area that's incomplete. There was stuff up there before growing. Now all you have is tufts of little crap. And I have copies of everything in the pictures and the presentation and everything else. This is ridiculous. There's no reason for you not to accept our gift. Why?
Well, any shrubs you put up there, anything,
Huh?
anything you put up there that will grow,
Yes.
need to be watered. And not
Yes.
just rainwater. You're gonna have to put water in it once.
We already have that figured out.
And it's not gonna affect the durability of the wall.
Ah.
It's a retaining wall.
That's a very good point. I've covered that in my documentation here. I did research. The type of shrub we're gonna put up there has fibrous roots, not a taproot, fibrous roots, which couldn't move a 1-pound block. It goes to a depth of 6 to 8 inches. It doesn't spread past the width of the shrub, all right? So we don't have anything.
That misses the point of what I was saying.
Yes.
What I was gonna say is you're gonna put more water on, up the top of that retaining wall. You're gonna put more water up there.
I got it.
A lot more water.
A lot more?
Well,
For the
you're gonna
first,
put more water than goes there now.
for the first 2 years, water will be put in there. After that, it'll survive without any additional water.
I'd have to, personally, I'd have to know from the engineers if putting additional weight and water on top of that is feasible. That's what I.
This would be planted above the wall. In terms of water, you do know that there are drains in that wall, do you know? You probably
know why there are.
I live with it. There are drains in there. There is, the way that wall was constructed was gravel base over concrete, drained lines running the full length of that wall, which would take any excess water and relieve any hydraulics that would develop behind it. I mean, this has been there a long time before with the wood, and it didn't wash out or tumble down. It was wood rot.
That's why it had to be replaced. But I would like to know from the engineers, what if anything your proposal would mean to the retaining wall itself?
Fine.
As for you doing the work, that's out, okay? As to the beautification committee, that's something this board may want to take it with the beautification committee.
Why does it have to be the beautification?
It doesn't have to be.
Why is that the obligation of the
Because
village?
they are part of the village.
Hmm?
They are part of the village.
The beautification.
Yes.
So therefore, they can do their work without any, having to clear it through.
Actually, they do, Mr. Cicero.
They what?
They do run it by the board before they embark. on
In
the
writing.
project. I'm sorry, sir?
In writing or verbally?
Verbally.
Mm.
Sometimes in writing, but verbally.
Okay.
The board doesn't want them putting, for instance, a structure on the village green, for instance. And if one was to be put on the village green, I feel the trustees have the right to make that decision, and something goes on the green, as the board has the right to make a decision what goes on the top of the retaining wall. If you'd like us to reconsider, I grant you to reconsider, and we'll discuss it.
Let me correct your perception. It doesn't go on top of your wall. It goes above the wall. Above the wall. Nowhere near would any integrity be pushing the top of the wall away. Nowhere. It's above the wall, with fibrous roof.
Well, may I suggest we take a second look at it?
I'm going to give you this paperwork because there's some other issues here that you must look at.
What are they?
The wall from Rosewood, and these are the pictures that are now concealed underneath the dirt of a part of that wall that's going to come down. Now, I mentioned this to you the other day, and we talked about Rosewood, the broken fences. I know you're a risk-averse individual in terms of litigation, I understand that. I mentioned to you that the fences are broken above your wall, and that anybody who falls through that fence is going to land on your property. Okay? So your litigation factor, or
Have they not addressed the broken fences up there?
here's what you told me they said. We sent the building department over there. They said, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. What they said was, yeah, right, we'll do it tomorrow. That's basically what they said. Now, do you have paperwork citing them for that? No.
No, we don't, not that I know of.
You have a potential litigation issue.
All right, but I'm gonna take a look at that tomorrow morning.
Okay, and these are the pictures that show that wall, which has no footing. Now, let me take that a step further in terms of administrative decisions. When this wall was going to be put up, they found out that there are no footings on any of that wall. The Rosewood wall, above the new wall, correct? And what happened was, Westar said, we've got to put some shoring in there, so they put steel in there. At that point, Mr. Mayor, Rosewood should have been appraised of this situation, and to put those steel columns in there, cost money, should have been bared by Rosewood, because it's their condition. Those steel beams were cut below the Rosewood wall. They offer no support to the wall. I was there, I live across the street, I watched the whole procedure. You guys have a potential problem here, and it's going to bite you in the butt. The whole point was, you had an opportunity to correct this with Rosewood. Nobody wants to address Rosewood. What is this, like a sacred cow? I think Mayor Siegel was on the board of directors with, they were on before, Jones Manor. I don't know if she's still on with
Rosewood has changed hands.
Yeah, I know.
Look, I see where you're going with this. Let me check with Rosewood tomorrow morning. Let me see the state of the wall and the fence.
I made some drawings because I remember, I know how the wall was fabricated. Because it always comes up to a wall in danger. I know the composite of this wall.
If I may interrupt you, have you any expertise to be able to draw a conclusion and a finding on the wall?
Expertise as to what I saw.
No. And perhaps an engineering degree?
Yes.
You do?
A practical engineer.
Practical engineering?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what does that have to do with facts?
Well,
I mean, you don't have to be-
It could clarify the facts.
Now, you
Simplify.
need an authoritative person, because that's the only thing you'll believe. Pictures, don't believe it. Data, don't believe it. If you have a factual person who's an engineer, it has depth, it has crust to it. Nonsense. Maria, when asked, not against you, Maria, when they asked the engineers, H2M, what could we put above the wall to hold the dirt? They said, grass. You didn't say, is there anything else? No, grass. If you look at the grass plugs up there, it's totally ridiculous. First of all, that wall doesn't move with any of the rains we've had. It's so compact, and the way it's constructed with topsoil, RCA,
Mr. Cicero, if the engineer said, we advise the village of Bayville, and just,
Go ahead.
to put grass up there, would that, let me finish, would that satisfy you?
No.
Okay.
Why?
Well, why not?
It won't hold the grass seed because it's a 40-degree slope. All you get is tufts. Most of the grass, by the way, ended up down Merritt Lane that they planted there. Now, let's talk about the wall. The wall is the ugliest piece of crap in this village.
We're talking about the Rosewood wall?
I'm talking about the Rosewood wall.
It's on Rosewood's property.
It's on Rosewood's property. Now, I'm not sure Rosewood owns that property. Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Anybody here know?
No.
I believe it belongs to cerebral palsy. And through some contractual agreement, which I suggest you look into, some contractual agreement with Rosewood and their properties. It needs to be, you have to figure it out. And I'll tell you why. If that is cerebral palsy property, I guarantee you, I would get that wall replaced quickly. You know why? The state, cerebral palsy financed 95% by OMRDD, the state. They have more leverage over what gets done on that property. If there's litigation involved there, they're gonna fix it. That's the way you get things done. You have to address this issue. You have to, that wall is disgraceful.
Would you know if anyone has gone to cerebral palsy and brought this wall question up to them?
No,
Okay, well, that's where I would think one would go if one wants to get their.
I don't know that Rosewood doesn't own that property.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there was a subdivision for Jones Manor
If I may,
on their partial.
I may interrupt you, and maybe for the record, we have an app here that tells us who owns the property. The property is owned by Jones, Rosewood.
Jones and Rosewood.
Yeah, Rosewood. And the other property is cerebral palsy.
What's the other property? The one
The Rosewood
behind it?
property and the cerebral palsy property.
Two
to the right.
separate-
The two
Two separate properties.
Okay, so we know who we have to address. Rosewood.
Well,
That's simple.
we have established something tonight.
Okay, so it's a combination of things, not to go linger on this thing, but the simplest project is just to decorate the damn dirt behind there. It's your property, Mayor, take care of it. These are the documentation I have with pictures for you, the board, to analyze. There's 5 copies there. Thank you. And I hope we don't have to beat this to death with some simple fern and flora.
I'm going to ask each trustee to take a moment, visit the site, and come back and give us an opinion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, is there anyone else in the audience? Sir, you've had your hand up before, and I'm sorry to neglect you.
That's okay. I'm not here to be argumentative in any way. Just a couple of
I'm
questions.
sorry.
Oh, don't be shy.
Your name, please?
Sorry?
Your name, please.
Dan Walsh,
And your address, please.
7 Adams. Number one, I think somebody give a rough estimate on how many people live in this town.
I'm sorry, sir, the question again?
a rough estimate on how many people live in this
Probably
town?
7,200 that we know of.
Okay, so 7,200. My
Except for the
understanding.
house down from Mrs. Cullen.
Yeah, there's 7,215.
25 people we don't know. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
No, so I don't think.
Glad you find it.
My understanding is that there aren't any more than 10 people that show up to these meetings. This is only the second time I've been to one in 30-something years. The last one got moved from here, and we went to the school because we were overpacked, whatever the meeting was, and I don't remember what it was about. So, my opinion is if the board votes to have it at 6:30, out of 7,200 people, if 7 show up, do what you want to do.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Second, garbage cans. What happened to the cans in town?
Like where, for instance?
In front of the stores down by Ludlam Avenue.
All right, I
We
tell you.
used to have those big belly things, they're gone, we
Well, you
got
know,
one green can.
let me tell you exactly what happened to those. First, they were called Big Belly.
Yes.
They broke on an ongoing basis. They cost more to maintain than they were worth. Personally, just my own personal opinion, your name is Walsh, is that right? Walsh. Last name?
Yeah.
Dan Walsh. Mr. Walsh. Personally, to me, they were ugly. Big, ugly bellies, and the fact that they were constantly being rehabilitated, we took them out of service. So we put regular brown trash cans in place.
Singular,
I'm sorry, sir?
singular, one.
No, when there's one at, currently at Florio's. And if you go to the other side of the street, there's one at the Bayville Meat Center. There's one at the Bayville Market. So there's at least 3. There's two in the Commons. And let me tell you why I asked to remove the trash can at the post office. Because over a weekend, you would find nothing but household garbage that was wrapped in white bags in that container. You would also see from people that picked up packages at the post office, they would empty the package or the box and they would leave it sitting in the container. And we'd look at it all weekend. So long story short, we took that out of service. Today, I go by Sundays, I don't see any boxes there. The people found a way to take the box home with them and put it in their own garbage.
Okay, several months ago, I contacted, I think it was Mr. Wright at the time.
David
Yeah.
Righteous.
And I asked him for a garbage can on our side of the bridge. Now, for 30-something years, I've been cleaning up that area over there. When I was at my sign that Vicky gave me an adopt a spot when we started the program, it was planted there. Okay, and he told me that you didn't want a garbage can. And all I do when I go there is pick up bottles. Everybody walking around just chucks them into the freaking corner over there.
We send people on a regular basis down the walk to clean the beach. Even when there were garbage, I hate the term garbage, even when there were containers available elsewhere. I could walk you in the Commons tomorrow morning and you'll find trash strewn about. I could walk you to West Harbor, to the pavilion, where there are garbage receptacles, and you'll find empty pizza boxes on the tables there. So this may not sound pleasant, but I think it was Mayor Koch in New York City, and I believe you were a former New York City police officer.
No.
So I went and asked him, why is there so much garbage on the streets? And the mayor replied, well, we have a lot of slobs in the city.
We have it here too.
Yeah, all right, so you could put a container, you could put a trash container, Mr. Walsh, on every corner, and you're still gonna have that slob that will bring his household garbage, the guy that's just too lazy to walk 12 feet to the receptacle off Florio's and leave it in the curb. It's more convenient. So, with that, I feel the number of receptacles we have are sufficient. I feel.
There used to be 2 in front of Florio's, one on either end of the
Well,
thing
the
there.
one seems to be working.
Well,
I mean, Mr. Florio has a complete staff there. That's his business. If he sees a container is overflowing, he grabs the trash bag and he puts it into his dumpster in the back.
okay, if Joe does that, that's fine, but I'm there every morning at 7 o'clock, and look at
If you can find me a garbage peel that looks appealing, let me know. And I just think I think they're dreadful looking, personally.
The only other question I have is if you can just tell us what's going on with the bridge.
The bridge is on schedule, work is beginning almost as we speak. And
Do you have any time frame of what's gonna be open, what's gonna be closed? Nobody knows anything, this is a big secret.
well, it's not tomorrow, but when we're at a point that there'll be closures, you'll know, there'll be ample notice.
You'll post it?
I'm sorry, sir?
You'll post it?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We'll send an email blast. Are you on the village email blast?
I doubt it.
No, you should be. I would recommend that you go on the village website tomorrow. There's a window comes up and it invites you to sign up for an email blast. And you know, there's some people in the village here just don't, they'd rather use Facebook. There's a lot of old timers wanting to get an old fashioned email. So sign up for the email. We'd love to keep you in the loop.
Mr. Wright used to keep everybody in the loop on Facebook all the time. And now this gentleman is taking care of that action, so hopefully we'll all know what's going on, that's all, because it seems to be a secret.
There again, you only reach part of the people in Bayville, and I've heard at least once tonight, there's a lack of concern for the constituents. There's a lot more constituents who aren't on Facebook than those that are. But there's a lot of avenues to contact the village. You can call, you can go on the website, you can stop in Village Hall now that it's open.
I'm not arguing that.
No, I'm not arguing either.
I'm not
I'm just
arguing
saying,
that at
Facebook,
all.
I believe Facebook is a two-edged sword. It might be useful at times, it may also be a large pain in the neck for people who would prefer the anonymity of insulting others, or saying things that might not be accurate or true. And I don't like that, but they can certainly reach any one of us, including the mayor or the clerk treasurer in this village hall, and find out what's going on. They can reach the building department, you can reach the sanitation department as well. Everybody here is accessible, but to have us monitor Facebook, I wouldn't do it. And I told the mayor.
You know,
I didn't ask you to monitor.
No.
I'm just saying that's the only way we've seen it.
Mr. Walsh, I wanted to let you be aware of, I'm guilty of many, many things, but no one could ever say that I don't return phone calls. Anyone has a question, they can call this village hall. I'm generally here every morning, and if I'm not here to take a phone call, I return the phone call. I'm extremely conscious of returning the courtesy of the phone call,
That's all.
always.
Thank you.
And I'm also very appreciative of people like yourself that come up and ask the questions that you've asked tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a lady in the audience, please.
Hi. Lisa Royce, 76 Bayville Avenue. Thank you, everybody, for handling the virus and staying tough for Bayville. I appreciate that. For your hard work. So that's the nice thing. Now, I'm gonna go with Merritt Lane here.
Please, microphone. Use it, I can't.
On the microphone.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the hearing, I tried to listen to the recording on the hearing here when the virus was going on YouTube, and the audio was terrible. Like, you couldn't hear anything.
Nothing.
You know, so the meetings were useless.
We'll have to find a way to make improvements. Has anyone on the board listened to a recent recording?
No. You should have let us know.
All right, well, I appreciate it.
I came instead.
Yeah.
Well, I believe
The next
that's why
time.
we have the air conditioning off now.
I believe the last time that they're referring to, the air conditioning was on, and that was quite a distraction, quite noisy. This speaking into the mic should make a difference. Prior to the pandemic, we were live streaming our meetings, and we were not getting, and that was probably before the summer and the air conditioner being in the window, we were not getting criticism that people couldn't hear. Certainly the mics were added to help that out, and certainly we turned the air conditioner off so as to allow people to be better heard.
Okay, I wasn't even gonna talk about that, but now you know. The garbage cans, you know, I was thinking, I was like, okay, less garbage cans, less stops for the garbage men to have to pick up the garbage, right? So less time for them to work, which is okay. But the only time I ever addressed the trustees is for a garbage can for Merritt Lane.
Because the thing I like to do the best is to go down Mary Lane, Sunset, and pick up all the garbage that I can, you know, all the plastic, save the birds, save the fish, you know, environmentalist. And I mean, it's beautiful. It is just simply gorgeous.
Are you here to petition for garbage receptacle with Merrill Lane?
No, I already got it.
You did, okay.
Yeah,
How's
I
it
got
work? How's it working out?
Great,
Good, good.
great,
Glad.
and it's still there.
I'm glad.
Friendly Corner, whatever it's called, Oakland, I guess. Perry Avenue, that doesn't have a garbage can anymore. I was wondering myself what happened to the garbage cans.
Do you believe we should put one at Perry?
There always was, yeah.
Well, there used to be an open food place too at that time.
Used to be what?
There's no food service going on.
No.
at Friendly
Actually,
Corners.
yeah, there is. They have box breakfasts.
That's not creating general garbage.
No.
It's carry out. I mean, you're taking a whole box of food.
So instead, like, they'll throw the gum wraps, the cigarettes, the bottles on the outside of my fence. So, fine, you know, don't put the garbage can there. I'll just pick up more litter. Now, okay, so the other day in the IGA parking lot, I was all excited. I saw these guys working, and I was like, oh, wow, good. You know, they're gonna clean the drains in IGA parking lot. You know, the river, we have, what do they call it? Bucket IGA or something like that. So,
Food bucket.
yeah, with the water storm, right? I mean, it was crazy. I had like rapids on my sidewalk. It was different. So I figured, okay, good, they're gonna clean the drains and address the problem. And instead, they put these huge lights that light up everything. And the store is closed overnight. It's well protected from the police, I can tell you that. And I don't see why people spend money on the lights when the water, the drains that do the parking lot are traveling down the drain and splitting Merritt Lane Beach in half. I mean, it's that bad. There's 2 beaches. I don't know if you go on the beach. Did you see the split? I said something about it last year, but it just keeps on getting worse. There's a great big drain pipe and it's opened up the bridge. So now there's no footing on this wall, they say, and the beach is already split in half. So, I don't understand. Like, who put these giant lights on that are good for nothing, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm stopping the
Where
stores.
are these lights?
IGA.
On the IGA parking lot.
It's a private thing, they upgraded to LED light fixtures.
That's the easy answer. Is it in your window? Is it causing you?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
You contacted the gentleman at IGA and asked that either they shield it from you or.
That's impossible.
Why, they won't listen to you?
No, it's not bad, it's just the lights that, they did the cemetery too, I don't know.
We haven't had anybody complain from the cemetery that it's too bright.
God.
But probably next month. No, seriously, there's things we can't do anything about because it's private property.
Yeah.
But Lisa can certainly go to the business people.
Lisa, let me go check those lights out.
Yeah,
And I'll
right.
call the owner of the parking lot.
Yeah, there's nothing to be done about that. But that's not the problem is still the drains. And,
In the drains in the parking lot.
yes, they don't work, and then it goes down the hill, and then it goes through that big drain, and it split the beach. Go down Merritt Lane, go, get out of the car and walk where it says no trespassing.
Are you saying that those drains drain down to the beach at Merritt Lane?
Yes.
I'm going to look in on that because
Go right ahead.
I can't imagine that happening, but.
There's a great big drain, you'll see it yourself.
I don't
I probably
know.
have it in my camera.
We'll take a look.
I
Yeah,
think,
it's splitting the beach.
we'll check that out and I'll get on those lights, I promise you.
There's nothing to do about them.
Of course, we could have them shine on the cemetery, as Mr. Magnuson suggested. And we
All right,
can
well-
shield them.
No, the main point was the drain and saving the beach.
That doesn't sound right to me either, because I probably don't know where these drains come out, but it seemed we would almost have to go uphill to get to Bayville Avenue and then come down again, unless they're deep underground and they're designed to go.
No, Merritt Lane straight down.
I understand that, you're talking about draining water from the parking lot.
Yeah,
The drainage pipe on Merritt Lane is connected to Bayville Avenue.
yeah.
So if the IGA parking lot were to overflow like it did in that last storm, which happens, I don't know, once every 5 years maybe.
No,
Then
more
the
than
water
that
would
now.
go on to Bayville Avenue and then in turn it would go down the drain. So unless you have a significant amount of rainfall, the water from IGA parking lot is not going on to Bayville Avenue.
Storm, this happened like 2 years ago. Big spread. I mean, in half, there was one solid each, and now there's two. So each storm, it just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse.
Would you let Tom know that the mayor and the board sends their best regards?
Sure will. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to comment on the drainage because Merritt Lane has a catch basin at the end on the left. At one time, they connected it to the drains that went down Warren Bay Court. At another time, it was opened with a pipe running out to the south. At this point, I don't know where it goes. All I know is a couple of people got flooded out down on Warren Bay Court. I know it was a crazy weather situation, those things can happen. I don't know if that's been cleaned out lately. I mean, there's something just bring to your attention. The main drain on the left side at the bottom of Merritt Lane. There are also some other sewer openings or caps. I don't know what they are for. I don't know where it goes. I do know a lot of rain from Merritt Lane, a lot of rain comes down from, Bayville Avenue and everyplace else. That's not the problem. I mean, that crap happens. It's that catch basin that I have some questions. It's always been a bone of contention, by the way. And at one point, I remember somebody broke through a walled-off area for that drain. They actually broke through it and sent it, I don't know where. Now, there is a runoff right at the bottom of Merritt Lane, just to the right of the Village Beach, that little section, that gets washed out. And of course, at high tide, the water is not going to go out of there. I just can't. High tide, where's the water going to go? So I don't know. I don't know what the solution to that is, but we've lived with it. I've lived with it for 39 years, so I'm okay. So just to bring it to your attention. Just one other question. The Steve Pier situation. Any news on that? Would be nice to put it in kind of the village website, so a lot of people wonder and say, they're not doing anything about it. No, that's
It would be premature to make much of a statement tonight, but we're hopeful that something very shortly will be presented to the village for consideration.
Good. That's good to know. Happy for that. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And your patience.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wish to make a statement? Okay, well, with that, I'll ask town clerk.
Mr. Walsh, I hope you didn't take anything I said as being confrontational. I mean, I have my own feelings about social media, but I think that there's enough access to the people who run the village, and this village is very, very responsive.
I didn't take anything wrong.
Okay.
Thank you very much. If I did, I would have let you know. Well, trust me.
That's fine too.
May I have a motion to close the meeting at this time?
I make a motion to close the meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee.
All in favor?
Second, thank you, Madam Trustee Cornell?
Yes.
Trustee Nyro?
Yes.
Trustee Minicozzi?
Yes.
Trustee Garcetti?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz?
Good for Merritt Lane. Good for Merritt Lane.
Maria, would you please make sure that the board board members get those copies? Yeah, I mean, it explains everything you read. I'm with pictures so you can get a picture.
Has mulch down to a lot.
Mulch, that's.
I
You didn't do mulch this year?
I didn't do any mulch.
No mulch.
I posted with no mulch.
That made it easy. That made it
And
easy.
after would be awesome.
That's very good.
That's a big piece. Well, basic, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it?
It's that they're doing unlawful construction.
You know? Maybe you should go over there. Any updates? Oh, it's just curious to see.
Memo to everybody.
Okay.
The plantation was
I
that.
presume it's been kicked and it just
Still
keeps getting
kicking.
kicked, yeah.
Well, 50% got killed.
Right.
So it's a new judge now, and I'm sure that, to our knowledge, everything's pushed on until
2 weeks later,
November.
they just